I had a small issue. I had a problem on the TV last Friday. So as I've been doing these days, I just walked into the next room from where I'm standing now. On Friday mornings, I attend Good Morning Ghana. So I attended Good Morning Ghana, and it's a newspaper review program, as many of you know, Randy Abe's show. In the next room, I attended it. Good Morning Ghana, newspaper review. Musa Dankwa had issued posts about NDC selection process and MPP selection process. We discussed it. To my surprise, the Moro Audu, my colleague and friend, indicated to myself and Mr. Nilante van der Poy that Mr. Ato Ahwoi wanted to make an intervention into the program. Of course, we're all very excited that, Ato Ahwoi still connects to politics. Ato Ahwoi, I know him very well. Nilante said, I know him very well. I said, I know him very well. What does he want to say? Moro said, he doesn't know, but he wants our permission to take Ato. We all said, of course. So Ato Ahwoi's phone call was put through to the studio. And I was surprised. And then he took me on. He said, I'm saying something terribly wrong, and accused me of all kinds of things. Eventually, it was settled. But I'd like you to watch this video, viewers, and then I'll come back and explain the behind the scenes of what happened in this whole episode on Good Morning Ghana. But I like to say greetings to Uncle Ato Ahwoi. I'm sure, but he probably is not watching, but he'll be told or he'll see the video. And Uncle Kwamena, the ever-brilliant lawyer, Kwamena Ahwoi, also his photograph is here for a reason. Tonight, we'll say the story, the backstory behind all of these things. This is a short clip of the video. It's about 7 minutes long.
Yes, please go ahead, Uncle Ato.
Moro.
Yes, sir.
I like the way of late you've been presenting Paul Adom-Otchere come and cause confusion in the NDC.
Oh!
Yeah, that's the first thing I'm going to say. I like the way you've been doing that consistently of late. Paul Adom-Otchere is a person who has never found anything correct with the NDC. He is one of the people who always wants to be on the side of Akufo-Addo. I know the relationship between him and Akufo-Addo, and he, Paul, knows that I know the things I'm talking about are correct. This is the Paul Adom-Otchere when NDC was in power, who came to my office and wanted me to get a position for him. But let him do whatever the mischief that he's trying to do. He's on a mischief assignment, and it's not going to help him in any way, shape, or form. And I would like him to concentrate on his MPP things, whilst we also concentrate on our NDC things. The NDC is very clear. It says that it will select a running mate, what is not running mate, the other one, a flag bearer, at least within 1 year of the election. So it means we can choose to select our flag bearer sometime in 2028 or 2027. So all these things that are going on, causing confusion between Asiedu Nketia and Julius Debra and everybody, it's just the typical trademark of Paul Adom-Otchere. And I don't think we should give him the chance to I don't think you, Moro, should give him the chance to do what he's doing on the TV. It's not right. And I don't expect you to give a platform to this guy to do what he's doing. We have our party, and we are running our party, and we know when we are going to elect our flag bearer. He can go through all the rigmarole that he wants. But, Moro, you know very well that NDC, we have a way of doing our own thing. Do you remember that when Atamels was selected as running mate by the NDC, as flag bearer by NDC, nobody thought he was going to do it. But we got him in, and he got it. The same thing, when people were fighting about who should be the running mate with Mahama, all sorts of names were mentioned, but the NDC went and brought Nana Jane and Nana Jane is now the vice president. So I think we should keep quiet and be careful the way we do our things with as far as the NDC is concerned. We have our system of doing things, and that system hasn't failed us, and it will not fail us. So tell Paul Adom-Otchere to keep whatever bad things he wants to do to NDC to himself, because he won't succeed. And some of us who are old members of the party will not allow him to succeed. We are going to make sure that NDC will go through their system and select whoever has to be the flag bearer or the running mate or whatever it is at the appropriate time. The time is not now. Mahama has done only 9 months of the 4 years, and I don't understand why we are going through this thing of trying to select a running mate now or a flag bearer now. It is not yet time. President Mahama has done only 4 months, 9 months, and we have 3.5 more years to go. So people should just keep quiet and let him do his governance. Paul Adom-Otchere, please keep quiet and shut your mouth and let Mahama serve his term. You never did what you are doing today when Akufo-Addo was in power.
Thank you very much, Uncle Ato, and good morning. I'm very happy to hear Uncle Ato talking. Him and I support the same Manchester United club, and so I'm very happy to hear him. Good morning, Uncle Ato. Thank you very much for intervening.
Good morning, good morning.
No, I don't support Akufo-Addo, which he does. Uncle Ato says that he talks about my relationship with Akufo-Addo, which is, yes, it's true. I mean, I believe that Akufo-Addo is one of the most impactful politicians of the Fourth Republic. I noticed that when I covered him in the second parliament, and I noticed that the way his youth mobilization was when I was a university student. So, yes, definitely, I'm an apologist of the Akufo-Addo political philosophy. There's no doubt about that. The other thing is that I do not wish the NDC evil. That's also, perhaps it's a bit too harsh. I mean, I have friends in the NDC. I am generally a political animal, so I like to follow politics a lot. So it is true that when Uncle Ato was at Church Street in those days of Mills, I will go there often with Harry Zakor. I don't remember asking him to give me a position, but yes, I visited him all the time. I would harass him for this and for that, and that's also true. I used to go to Church Street. Sometimes David Lamptey will send me there as well, so that's true. The other thing is, the thing we are discussing is not coming out of me. It's coming out of Musa Dankwa's polls. This is really the point that has to be made. It's not me saying that I'm coming here this morning to discuss something that is not born out of it. It's a newspaper review program. So the newspaper agenda is what we are following. Sometimes we can add other things, but those things must have been in the news. So we are talking about Sam George this morning because it is in the news. We are talking about the NDC's presidential primaries because Musa Dankwa has been polling about it, and it forms part of the news. Anytime Musa Dankwa picks up a poll, it is a big story on Joy FM and Joy Headline News and all of that. So that is why we are talking about the NDC situation. I was here last week. We probably didn't talk about the NDC situation. We'll talk about something else. I wanted to discuss, if it has been reported, the Richard Japa and Godfrey Dame petitions to the CID, which I'm very interested in. So I have to plead with Uncle Ato that the things he had me said were based on a discussion of the Musa Dankwa polls, to which I gave some flesh to. And I was also concerned that Ben Brito-Chimalon, especially one of the respected journalists, as I said, broadcasters, was concerned about the way Musa Dankwa was doing the polls too early. And Musa Dankwa stood his ground and said that he's a pollster. He pulls up polls every 3 months, and so he will continue to do it, and that they do it everywhere in the world. This is what has got me talking about the NDC flag bearership.
What we here at Metro TV can assure you of is that when we invite people for programs, we don't invite them because we have some ulterior motive. I mean, first of all, Paul is a member of this company. He's a staff of this company. He has a program called Good Evening Ghana. And so as a staff of this company, he's entitled. In fact, he has a right to appear on any platform if the platform deems it fit to invite him, you know, to come and express his opinion. Basically, his opinion is expressing. And there's always somebody from the other side who would counter or disagree with him if what he's saying is not factual. So it is not like we're doing a one-on-one with him, you know, where he comes and says things and perhaps the host is not asking, you know, proper, relevant, critical follow-up questions. That is not the case at all. And it is also not my call. I don't personally decide who comes on the show. there's a production team that works with the head of the programs department who decide who appears on the show or what show and at what time and on what day. So it's not personal. I mean, I don't make that call at all. But your concerns are well noted. I'm sure management is listening. I'm sure management believes that there's something that ought to change as far as the paneling is concerned. I'm sure that management will take the right decision. But your concerns are well noted. We thank you very much for your input.
Thank you very much, Uncle Ato, for your inputs. But as I was looking at this, I thought that I should bring to you, my viewers, a bit of history about this story. And I can clearly understand where Uncle Ato Ahwoi is coming from. I'll come to working with Rawlings. Let me have Uncle Ato Ahwoi again. I understand where Uncle Ato Ahwoi is coming from. If you know the history of these things, I have made the point on Good Morning Ghana, and I've made the point again that this will be the first time that the NDC has to go through a succession process through a democratic way. Well, democratic in quotes, but let me say through a fully democratic way. That's not in quotes. Through a fully democratic way. What do I mean by that? The succession plan matter is as follows. When the elected president is leaving and he can't do another term, you elect another person. The MPP had gone through it in 2007. Indeed, the NDC was the first party to have the opportunity to go through it in 1999-2000 when J.J. Rawlings, after 7 two-term Democratic leader and 11 years of military leader, was exiting, and so they needed to fix somebody there. Now, it was Uncle Ato Ahwoi who took the view that rancor about choosing a presidential candidate after Rawlings should completely be avoided by the party. And so I can understand where he's coming from. He knows that this kind of democratic enterprise, which I, as a political scientist, call it the pill of democracy, is medicine. It's a pill. It's a bitter pill of democracy. But like any disease, you have to take the bitter pill to get the disease out of your body. It is that pill that has to be swallowed by every political party, that internal choice. It is always a bitter pill. Every political party goes through it. It hardly ever ends the way you want it to end. But it is something that is a fait accompli. You have to go through it. It's like a catch-22 situation. It's about the being in between a river and the deep blue sea and all those things they say. Every political party must go through that at a point, and it's not very simple. And when the NDC's turn came, the first time in the Fourth Republic, to go through the process, it was Uncle Ato Ahwoi and his, at that time, so-called Fancy Confederacy, who managed that process. They believed that they had managed that process very well to avoid contest and imposed on Flight Lieutenant Rawlings, his Vice President, Professor Mills, got Flight Lieutenant Rawlings to make a public announcement 2 years into his term. Mr. Rawlings was sworn in January 1997. By mid-1998, October or so, 1998, J.J. Rawlings had made what has now become an infamous reference in the NDC called the Swedru Declaration. Now, the Swedru Declaration was occasioned by the philosophy of Uncle Ato Ahwoi. Now, Ato Ahwoi needed to occasion the Swedru Declaration so that this kind of fighting, bickering, and chasing each other and dividing the party would be avoided. Incidentally, that process, which was successful in terms of Ato Ahwoi's understanding of it, also occasioned the biggest breakaway from the National Democratic Congress. And I'm going to tell you the story, if you permit me. Give me 2 minutes. First of all, let's look at how, when the opportunity came, Uncle Ato Ahwoi seized the opportunity to bring in Professor Mills as the running mate of Rawlings. Professor Mills was a very qualified person. And when he became president, at least 2 years, people saw it. 3.5 years he was president, people saw it. He's not bad at all. He's a very bright guy. He was just unwell, but he's a very bright guy. He's a very, very good politician. And Ato Ahwoi brought him in as vice president. Once Professor Mills secured the vice president position, Ato Ahwoi then metamorphosed Professor Mills into the NDC's inheritance to become the presidential candidate, endorsed by the leader, how do you call it? I want a word for it. The ultimate leader of the NDC. Those days they call him the founder, and he had a single very powerful voice. Ato Ahwoi got J.J. Rawlings to agree that Professor Mills be the candidate. People were so angry. Obeda Samoa was angry. Many people were angry. In fact, the young people who were coalescing around Guzitano, who were waiting for a contest, which they believed that Guzitano will win, left the party to form their own party. This is Ato Ahwoi speaking to me in 2016 about how Mills came in when the opportunity came for the vice presidential slot. Please listen.
Harry was the Minister of Education, and he brought a memo to Cabinet asking us to reverse the decision of the University Council, and appoint Professor Mills because he was much better. And he extolled his virtues. In the middle of it, somebody told him that in this constitution, the government doesn't appoint the vice chancellor, it's the University Council, so it cannot be done. But he was very, very emotional about it. And the more he spoke about it, the more I said, Obedasamwa was in the meeting, but he left before the meeting ended. So as soon as the meeting ended, I dashed to his office. He was Attorney General at the time. I said, Obed, this Professor Mills that Harry was talking about, don't you think he's the person that we are looking for? Obed said, Jesus Christ, Kwamina, you are right. He's brilliant. I taught him. Yes. Why hasn't anybody thought about him? So he called Rollins on phone, and they spoke in Ewe, which I didn't understand. And then Jerry said, come there. I know the man. I have met him. His IRS coming. Go to his house. Whatever it takes today, I want him as a candidate.
I think there's part of the video that they didn't show where he said he went to Professor Mills's house, he met him. I needed that producer. That's where Ato Ahwoi comes in. He said Mills was close to his brother Ato Ahwoi, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so now let me come to working with Rollins. So Professor Mills became the running mate and the election was successful. Then I believe that Uncle Ato Ahwoi, at that time, who had significant control over the NDC with his fancy confederacy, Toto B. Kwachi was at national security, his brother Kwame Ahwoi was at local government, Ato Dazi was there in the castle. They had a sort of group, they were labeled by Kofi Kumsin, the Chronicle editor and publisher, as fancy confederacy, and we still call them that. They then began to maneuver to avoid this kind of contest because they knew that had potential to destroy the party. To avoid that contest, they imposed Professor Mills on the party as the leader without a contest with a Swedru declaration. And then the declaration was confirmed in Ho, where I was a reporter. I should have asked them to pick up my photograph with Rollins in that place. Where I was a reporter for the NDC Congress in Ho. I went in with Komla Dumo and others in May 2000. I believe Standogbe was part of that group. We went to Ho, and Mills, in his acceptance of the endorsement of the NDC Congress, said that he was going to consult Rollins morning, noon, day, night, midnight, dawn, every time. And that became a problem during the campaign of 2000. But this is what Ato Ahwoi occasioned, because he was aware that if they were to allow this contest, there would be a problem. I am not so sure whether Uncle Ato is preparing to do that again. But it is impossible to do that in 2025. The democracy has come so far. The MPP has gone through so many congresses, changing leaders, that Ghanaians have become used to it. So it's completely impossible for anyone within the NDC to orchestrate an automatic inheritance of John Mahama's presidency and leadership of the party to another person without a contest. There is going to be a contest. And perhaps Uncle Ato doesn't want us to talk about that contest, but we can't do anything about it. Idrisu Haruna, recently, he's a minister for education. He's a bona fide member of the NDC. He's aware of all of these things. He spoke about the vice president, that the vice president could be a president, and then we are now beginning to make permutations of Jenana Opoku-Agyeman number 1, Idrisu Haruna number 2. We are wondering why Musa Dankwa in his polls does not poll Jenana Opoku-Agyeman. He doesn't at all. He polls Haruna Idrisu, Julius Debra, Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, Skesel Ato Forsen, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Dr. Zaneto Rollins, and all of them. But he doesn't poll the vice president. Idrisu Haruna has drawn our attention to the fact that, look, the vice president is a potential candidate. Now, when Haruna said it and we spoke about it, Haruna Idrisu has come back to say that what he said was for effect. We analyzed on Good Morning Ghana, and I said that from my knowledge of Haruna Idrisu, what he said was for effect. He's come to confirm it, that indeed what he said was for effect. Do you have the video, producer? If you have the video, get it ready. Let's listen to Idrisu Haruna, Minister for Education.
Many of you who sought to give it your own interpretation. Professor Jane, I'm reminding them that my mother taught me that sometimes silence is golden because silence cannot be interpreted. But this one, I wanted an interpretation because a vice president, irrebutably, is a presumption that she can assume the high office of president. Irrebutably. Irrebutably.
Good evening, Charles Bisu. Did you hear that, viewers? Did you hear that? Idrisu Haruna. So, Uncle Ato Ahwoi, we are really sorry. But it's not me, it's not us, it's not the media. It is the circumstance of the matter. You can't do anything about it. Listen to Haruna Idrisu again. Listen to him well. He said that. He said it for effect. Listen.
As my prayers, there were many of you who sought to give it your own interpretation. Professor Jane, I'm reminding them that my mother taught me that sometimes silence is golden because silence cannot be interpreted. But this one, I wanted an interpretation because a vice president, irrebutably, is a presumption that she can assume the high office of president. Irrebutably. Irrebutably.
It's not even this one. This is Ho. All right, I'll take both photographs though. So that's Idrisu Haruna. When I told the people I'm looking for my Idrisu Haruna and Professor Jenano Pokwajiman, okay, so that ends that story. When I told my people I'm looking for the photograph of Rollins, they brought me one that I'd like you to see. It's not this one, but this one was at a press conference in JJ's house. This must have been 2002. Those days, JJ and I were very nice, very nice. I go to him, we talk about military and all of that. So this is Flight Lieutenant Rollins, who is showing me a point on the press statement. This Roland Aqua Stevens. I'm not sure where he is now, but I guess that he's working with the Yoko or something like that. Roland Aqua Stevens. We used to call him Kadera. And then this is Dr. Toniedu, with whom I was all the time. And then this is Flight Lieutenant Rollins. I'm not sure who took this photograph, but Victor Smith would have been in this conversation as well. This is back in the day, I used to like wearing blue shirts a lot. I'm not sure why I've stopped, but I used to like wearing blue check shirts a lot. So this is me and JJ in 2002 or 2003. Certainly Kufuor was president. And they had another one, which I'm very proud of. The other one is Election 2000. This is the JJ security around him. Oh, I remember this guy, JJ security. I remember all of them. Look at how the soldier man is looking at me. This is JJ voting in 2000, Flight Lieutenant Rollins, and I gave him a live interview on Joy FM as he was casting his ballot. And my question was simple, that who did you vote for, Mr. President? And he said my vote is a secret, but he voted for Professor Mills, of course, in the 2000 election. A little bit of history. I'm doing another book, and some of these photographs will show up.